This is the case study of the burned-out remote worker Sam's journey to balance, how he mastered boundaries and reconnecting. Today, we're tackling a modern workplace challenge: remote work burnout. You've heard of burnout in the office, but what happens when the office is your home? Meet Sam, a talented software developer who found himself caught in this exact trap. Who is Sam? Sam's your classic tech wizard, the kind of guy who can fix bugs in his sleep. Except, lately, sleep was something Sam rarely got. Like many remote workers, Sam's office hours seemed to have no boundaries. The day blurred into night, and before he knew it, he was spending more time in front of his screen than in front of his own family. But it wasn't just the hours. It was isolation, disconnection, and the feeling that his home was no longer a sanctuary, but just an extension of his work cubicle. You are wondering, why does this matter? Sam's story is the story of millions of remote professionals. Without physical separation, work can seep into every part of life. And while remote work offers flexibility, it also opens the door to overwork and burnout. So how do we fix this? The problem included blurred boundaries and isolation. Let's look at Sam's typical day. Let's step into Sam's shoes for a moment. At 6 a.m., he wakes up, reaches for his phone, and immediately checks Slack. One message: "Hey, can you jump on a quick call?" At 7 a.m., coffee in one hand, laptop in the other, Sam's working in his pajamas. He figures, it's early, but I'll just clear out these emails. At 11 a.m., still in his pajamas. His wife drops in to say hello, but Sam barely looks up. At 3 p.m., Zoom meeting after Zoom meeting. A few code reviews. No lunch break. At 8 p.m., he finally wraps up the day's work, only to get one last ping: "Can you push a quick update?" At 10 p.m., his mind is racing as he tries to sleep. He's thinking about work again. The impact of all this is physical toll. Sam's sleep patterns were erratic. His neck hurt, his eyes were strained, and his energy dipped. Its emotional impact was that he felt trapped, isolated, and disconnected from his own life. There was productivity decline. Despite the long hours, Sam's output plummeted. It's a paradox: the more he worked, the less effective he became. It's like trying to drive a car without brakes. Sure, you're moving, but eventually you're going to crash. Sam was running full speed with no stop button in sight. Solution number 1 includes having the dedicated workspace protocol. What Sam needed wasn't just more time management tips, he needed a physical and mental separation between work and life. Enter the dedicated workspace protocol. Step 1 was to create a work-only zone. The first thing was Sam creating a clear division between his workspace and his living space. He set up a corner of his spare room as his office. No more working from the kitchen, the couch, or the bedroom. He physically marked this area with a work-only sign to remind himself that once he left that space, he was off the clock. He invested in a comfortable chair, a desk, and even a plant, all to signal his brain, "This is where I work." Why this works? Studies show that creating a designated workspace can increase focus and productivity by up to 30%. It's like training your brain to know, when I'm here, I'm working. When I'm not, I'm done. It's like the gym rule: no eating pizza while on the treadmill. Mixing spaces leads to mixed signals. And Sam's brain was running in work mode even when he was on the couch, trying to relax. Step 2 was to define start and stop times. Sam established non-negotiable working hours. Start time, 9 a.m. End time, 6 p.m. sharp. At 6 p.m., Sam physically shut down his computer, turned off work notifications, and left his workspace. The routine created a sense of closure, allowing him to mentally switch off. Outcome was that Sam's stress decreased significantly. He reported feeling more energized and even had time to pick up his old hobbies. Within 2 weeks, his sleep improved, and his productivity shot up by 40%. Think of your workspace like a charging dock. You plug in to power up for work, but you have to unplug to recharge yourself. Otherwise, you'll be running on empty. His solution number 2 was the daily virtual check-ins. Remote work can feel like being on a deserted island. To combat this, Sam was introduced to the daily virtual check-in routine. Step 1 was to schedule non-work conversations. Connection doesn't just happen, it's something you have to cultivate, especially remotely. We set up a daily 10-minute check-in where Sam and his teammates would just talk. No work agenda, no project updates, just human interaction. Every day at 4 p.m., Sam joined a virtual coffee break. They'd discuss anything from the latest Netflix series to weekend plans. It gave everyone a chance to see each other, laugh, and connect. Why this work was because social interaction is like a multivitamin for your mental health. It combats isolation and boosts your sense of belonging. For remote workers, it's a lifeline. It's like being the office water cooler, but without the awkward stares when you're refilling your bottle for the 5th time just to chat. Step 2 was to implement a buddy system. Sam partnered with a buddy, a colleague he could check in with throughout the week. They'd share what they were working on, ask for advice, and even vent if needed. As a result, the daily check-ins and buddy system made Sam feel connected again. He no longer felt like a lone wolf coding into the void. His motivation surged, and his mental health began to improve. Think of it like a spotter at the gym. You can lift more when you know someone's got your back. Solution number 3 was establishing a remote routine. Finally, Sam tackled the lack of routine. Without structure, remote work can feel like herding cats. We helped Sam build a remote routine that brought back his sense of control. Step 1 was doing the morning rituals to signal start. Sam created a pre-work morning routine. He'd brew a fresh cup of coffee, read the headlines, and then change into work clothes, even if they were just a slightly nicer pair of sweatpants. Ditching the all-day pajamas look was step 1. Because if you're dressed like it's Sunday morning, your brain won't buy that it's work time. Step 2 was the evening wind down. At the end of each day, Sam introduced a wind down routine. He closed his laptop, physically left his workspace, and took a 10-minute walk outside. This ritualized closure sent a clear message: work is done. Life has begun. As an outcome, Sam felt energized in the mornings and relaxed in the evenings. His days became more predictable, reducing anxiety and increasing overall well-being. Think of routines as the tracks that guide a train. Without them, the train would go everywhere but where it's supposed to. Sam's story teaches us that boundaries and connection are non-negotiable for remote workers. Remember: 1. Create a dedicated workspace to separate work from life. 2. Build social connections through virtual check-ins and a buddy system. 3. Establish a remote routine to bring back balance and control. And don't forget, burnout isn't a badge of honor. It's a warning sign. Listen to it, take action, and protect your well-being. After all, nobody dreams of becoming the world's most exhausted employee. So let's avoid that title, shall we?